Camp Guernsey is the National Guard's premier training center in the West. It was established in 1938 because of an abundance of undeveloped land, but people have been exploring this area and inhabiting this area for nearly 12,000 years. People of the Paleo-Indian period all the way through to the immigrants on the Oregon Trail and early ranchers in the area.
If we go back to the earliest point, 12,000 years, give or take, with a group called Clovis, which were the earliest ones that we're able to identify in this area. Clovis, to some extent, were in the area when we still had lots of Pleistocene megafauna, very big animals. This would have been mammoth and mastodon. As we get more toward the proto-historic, that's when we begin to see recognizable tribes that are still extant today. The Crow, the Shoshone, the Sioux, the Arapaho, the Cheyenne. All of these groups probably had knowledge of this prehistorically, but it isn't until you actually get the European settlers in here that we can actually put names to some of these groups that far back. We have to be so careful here on Camp Guernsey is because there are locations that are special to the people that were here at the time. They may not look impressive to you or me, but they may have very special meaning to a different culture.
We're still trying to find, what their uses are or what the significance of the sites. Some of it was just speculation that that's probably a burial site. Just respectful to not go digging around in there. It would be like me going to the Arlington Cemetery, digging around over there. I'm sure people would get upset about that. A lot of it is for the younger people so that they can continue to protect and preserve themselves, for our own history. There's like this little time span within each generation. And every time that someone passes away, they take some more of that information with them.
There's a lot of history was told to me by my grandfathers orally. I'm a retired school principal and teacher, and I didn't get to find out about myself till 1995 when I got involved with the National Park Service, the United States government. The soldiers need to have the tribal people come and give them a little in-service protocols. I would recommend you bring in people from other tribes to come and talk about the protocols of entering an area that is unknown but has spiritual significance. Not destroy or tear, but to keep it as it was.
Throughout the trail era, 1841 to the end of the 1860s, there would have been covered wagons going through here. During the California Gold Rush, those guys were in a hurry to get to California, so they would do 25 or 30 miles a day, sometimes more. The family groups, usually going to Oregon, though a lot went to California too, they might do tops 15 miles a day. Death is a controversial subject in trail history. It's not really known how many died. There are wild estimates, 50,000 to maybe 10,000.
Certainly the trails and then the railroad that followed them did a lot to hold the nation together and make possible a continental nation. One route for all these different groups, the gold seekers and the families going to Oregon and the Mormons going to Salt Lake and the Pony Express. The idea was that it was the destiny of European Americans to spread out and settle all across America. The idea that there was nothing here before they got here, which was wrong. There were many contending empires and cultures already here. It made a huge difference culturally across North America, dividing the continent in half, dividing the buffalo herds in half, dividing the cultures in half that were already here too.
The landscape around the town of Guernsey is really special. It's drawn a lot of different people to the area, and it's no surprise that they established Camp Guernsey here to train at. But with that training comes our responsibility to preserve the historic homesteads, archaeological sites, and National Historic Trail that also are encompassed by the camp. In 2018, a unit came to Camp Guernsey to train and caused a significant amount of damage to a site extremely important to Native American tribes. We want to avoid these circumstances as much as possible, so by following the rules that we've set forth for you in this video, we hope to not repeat that situation again.
We request that all units provide us with detailed information on unit activities and maneuvers out here on Camp Guernsey. We also request that no surface disturbance happens without prior authorization from the Environmental Department, and that the unit contact us with any questions that they have. We provide paper maps. Additionally, we have digital maps available. They designate restricted areas to heavy vehicle traffic, and in some instances, even foot traffic. We have fencing features out here on the training areas that are called Seaver stakes that are reflective toppers on top of T-posts that signal training units here at Camp Guernsey to restricted areas on the ground. One side has a black stripe coming down the Seaver stake topper, and that black stripe signifies that you're on the wrong side of that stake and that please move to the other side of the resource. So we ask that you acknowledge and respect the fencing, the boulders, and the Seaver stakes, and any signage you see as well that says no bivouacking or digging in certain areas.
As an archaeologist, what excites me the most about the cultural resources on Camp Guernsey is how many mysteries there are about the people who lived here before us, and knowing that the resources on the ground here might be our only opportunity to study and understand those people.
Our elders deem that these areas are sacred, even though we don't own them. Coming up here, I feel there's some power there that the old ones left. Come in a good way, leave an offering, leave a prayer, because they'll always be here, that we can come back again.
I think it's important to think about the people that came before us, and places like this look very much like they did in 1849. So this is a real treasure here, and it's very rare. And when you're walking in the swales, you're walking in the very places where the people were driving their wagons and walking themselves.
Prehistory is one of those studies that almost everybody finds fascinating. It's much more than just the artifacts on the ground. It's understanding the culture, the people, the changes that they had to go through to get where they are today.